flamboyant.
People always come up to me and say, "Oh, are you in disguise?" I'm like, "Well, it obviously didn't work then, did it?"
Opinionated.
It's like, "Oh, when are you going to write another Karma Chameleon?" I'm not. I don't know how I wrote that one.
And in a world obsessed with image, Boy George has always been an artist in control of his superstar brand.
You're actually early, friends. This doesn't
Yeah,
happen.
well, it's a new thing, I think, for me.
2017 has begun by granting Boy George some of his all-time wishes, starting with being announced as this season's face of legendary fashion house Dior.
At this point, I've done so many amazing things. So it's like, let's just do some mad stuff like that we haven't done before. I want to become a supermodel. And then about 3 weeks later, my manager called me and said, "Well, you know, you said you wanted to do some modeling." And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, let's start at the top, Dior." So I was like, "No, that's great."
Does that mean your hat is from Dior? Are you exclusively Dior?
The hat isn't Dior. No, we found a hat that was passable. And then they decorated it. They did some stitching on it and kind of Diored it. So we got through that. But I always wear hats.
Do people not recognise you if you don't wear a hat?
It makes it harder to get a table in a restaurant with the hat. Because they put your hat on. If I'm not dressed up, people don't necessarily recognise me. They usually recognise my voice. Like yesterday, I went to buy a steamer in, is it Peters of Kensington? Is that what it's called? And a woman was talking to me, and she obviously kind of worked out that it was me, but she didn't sort of push it, you know. I said, "Oh, this store's so eccentric, I love it." She said, "I know, I came in here to buy a frying pan and I got a job." And I said, "Oh, there's hope for me."
What did Carnival think about King Boy George?
The last 12 months have seen George's fame rise to new levels in a completely different arena, showing off his business side, making it to the finale of The Celebrity Apprentice in the US.
What was Arnold Schwarzenegger like?
I really liked Arnold. He's warm, you know, he's very warm, and he has a great sense of humour. And I just really liked him. I just thought, yeah, you know, and he's quite iconic, isn't he? It's like, "Oh, honey." When they said, "Oh, it's, you know, he's going to be the host," I was like, "Oh, that's just genius. I've got to do it." You know.
Would you have done it had Trump been the host?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have done it, yeah. Because I think with Trump, you know, it's one of those things, if I met him, I'd probably like him. Oh, he's born on the same day as me as well. Myself and Donald Trump and Che Guevara all share the same birthday.
Wow, I could not think of three more diverse people.
You know what, so I always think to myself, there's got to be something nice about him. He's born on the 14th of June.
Celebrity Apprentice reintroduced George to American audiences, and now he's about to make his reality TV debut in Australia as a coach on The Voice from next Monday. One thing Boy George isn't looking for is a contestant who wants an easy ride.
A lot of people, when they come on these shows, they'll go straight for the person who won last time. They want the fur coat without doing any work. It's like, quick, get in the limousine. Let's go to Seal or whatever, or to Delta. You know, I like to throw a curveball. Are you making the right decision by going with that person because what? Because they won? You think that that's how it works? You're crazy. Ultimately, what's going to make people fall in love with you is you got to break their hearts. You're a brand. You know, there are plenty of artists nowadays who've had one hit record and have built empires on the back of one hit record.
And is that something you're looking for with people as you're taking them through? Are you looking for people who can be a brand?
For me, it's very physical, very physical. I look at the way someone stands, I look at the way they look at me when I'm talking to them. I look at the way they look at other singers when they're singing. Is it supportive? Is it bitchy? Are they a little bit full of themselves?
Do you really want to hurt me? Surely no one could be a better judge of an artist's staying power than George himself. In the 80s, when Culture Club shot to stardom, the world couldn't get enough of him.
I don't care what anyone says to me, because nothing can upset me or outrage me.
Boy George managed to use that fame to catapult him to permanent icon status. There's no question he's enjoyed the ride so far, but it doesn't end here. George has been inspired and has a new album in the pipeline.
The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do an album called Songs I Wish I'd Written. So I'm going to take, there's so many songs over the last kind of 30 years that I've gone, oh, I wish I'd written this, it's so beautiful. Like Jealous Guy by John Lennon, like maybe Careless Whisper by George Michael, which is a beautiful song. I never would have thought of singing George Michael. And now it kind of feels like it would be a really beautiful thing to do. And dangerous because he was such a great singer.
The death of his revered musical counterparts, George Michael and David Bowie, have clearly left their mark. But Boy George isn't one to be nostalgic.
I'm not the same person I was 20 years ago, nor do I want to be. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be who I was in 1984. I don't even know that, I don't even know how I crossed the road at that point in my life, and I really believe in the power of now. Like, the past is wonderful, you should respect it, revere it, but don't live in it. There's no fun in the past.
Season 6 of The Voice starts on Monday at 7:30 here on 9. After the break, designer look wedding dress.